This is the Lydian spin, and we're not going to stop. But we would appreciate any help we can get because, look, our mouths do not run on gas and air alone, occasionally food and drink. So if you wouldn't mind contributing, no contribution, too large or too small, because we're just going to keep going, whether or not you help us out. Your gain, your loss.
The PayPal is paypal.me/TSD1975. That's paypal.me/TSD1975.
It would help. We're going to keep going. We don't like to beg, and certainly we're not, but actually, it's a fucking command. Take it or leave it. Thank you. This is the Lydian Spin. This is the Lydian Spin with Lydia Lunch and Tim Dahl. Here we are on opposite sides of the country.
Yeah.
Is any place safe?
Well, I'm in Los Angeles right now, and they're saying there's threats of these kind of drone attacks here. But I fucking
another diversion.
Yeah. I'll digress. It's 90. It was in the 90s today. It's been hot since I've been here. But it cools down at night. It's mating season for the coyotes, and were they active last night? It was a lot of yipping and all types of shit going on, and then ambulances going by, and then they'll with their howls kind of syncing up with the howling.
The sound of LA is sirens, dogs or coyotes, ambulances, and helicopters. Let's face it.
Yes, exactly.
It's a soundtrack.
Yes. I just had lunch with Danita Sparks. She says hi. She's doing great.
Always wonderful and lovely. Yes.
Yeah, that was really fun.
He's doing a recording with Joey Killingsworth for his next Iggy Pop tribute, which I'm also on doing. Johanna, she's doing Tight Pants, and a lot of people are on it, so that's fun. And also the podcast she just did with me and Genre's Death is now up online as well.
I got to check that out. She was telling me about that, so I got to check that out for sure.
Lots of fun. The Art Gray Noise EP, which I'm on with Permafrost and Mass Production, is now out on In the Red. All fun and games. I'm just saying.
Yes, and we have in a month we have our Texas and back tour coming up. So
Texas and forward. Exactly.
Yes, there you go. I'm looking forward to that. All right. We can talk. There's a lot of current events. Maybe I don't know with all this.
I'm waiting for the bomb cyclone to hit the middle of the country, which could be coming any day. 90 in LA. It was like 80 here the other day, then down to 40. Bomb cyclones, tornadoes, whatever. The weather, as it always is, wackadoodle now.
It's insane. There's just so many.
I'm waiting for the plague of locusts that should be coming any day now.
I saw a lot of grasshoppers while I was here. All right, we can go to animals. Julian Hernandez of Irvine, California, was on his mountain bike. There's some path and decided
mountain lions.
Decided to get off and let some people pass him, and then he fell into like a little bit of a bush and onto a rattlesnake, at which point bit the fuck out of him, and
did he strike?
He died.
Oh,
he died. Of
all the places you're in the woods, you take one slight falter and you land on a rattlesnake.
Yeah, and that thing bit the shit out of him, and it wasn't. And they inject. They don't. It's not always clear how much venom they're going to inject. I think this was a full. Full money shot.
Not like you can get an EpiPen for rattlesnake venom.
No, it was only 25. It was more venomous stuff. So spring break in Texas, down all the way down.
Venomous by design, yeah.
Sea slugs, also known as blue dragons, are washing up, but they're everywhere, and they eat Portuguese man of war. So basically, what's in their stomachs? Like if you step on one, it's 3 times the strength as a Portuguese man of war, which I've been stuck on before.
What do they look like?
They look like these. They look
gelatinous?
Like little blue dragons. Like they're really, really this kind of bright aqua blue, and kind of like little wing things, and they're not that big, but they're also known as sea slugs. So that they look better than that name, but
revenge.
I mean, if you have to be pretty allergic to die from it, but it's gonna fucking hurt. Like I brushed against a Portuguese man of war once, and
Yeah, but are they different than nudibranchs, or are they a form of nudibranch? Nudibranchs are sea slugs too.
Yeah, that's a good question. I know the real name, and I couldn't even pronounce it. I should have written that down. They're scientific.
I guess, Jay, hard to pronounce his name.
Yeah, I mean, well, by the way, I mean, I think I've mentioned this, but you know, Portuguese man of war is not this one species. It's a colony. So you have this like that little bubble thing that's floating, and all those tentacles and all this stuff's living. It's literally this oceanic apartment building, and it'll fucking sting the fuck out of you. But whenever those things wash up in the sand, though, the sun, they don't last long in the sun. They burn to death. But even if it's dead, you step on it, you're gonna fucking feel that. What? Well, you get attacked by spiders.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been a while, so let's not, come on now.
Simon,
I have been attacked. You've been attacked, but no.
I was bit by one.
What was the worst venomous allergic reaction you had to anything?
Well, there were two. There was the man of war. I got stung, and it hurt so bad. I was like 8 years old or something, and all they could do was spray Windex on it, which did nothing. This was down in Florida in the early 80s, and then I got stung on the ear by this asshole moron in my neighborhood threw a rock at a beehive or a yellow jacket hive, and they swarmed out, nuts, attacked me, and I had an allergic reaction where my ear swelled out like Alfred E. Newman. Oh,
so it was like fried dough when you buy at the carnival.
It's just like this huge ear out, and of course, kids aren't really nice to each other. I look like an idiot.
No names mentioned. I would say a previous guitar player was the most venomous thing I ever had to deal with.
Well, we all have, these are all histamine reactions, and we don't. And some people are more sensitive. I feel like I'm more.
A lot of commercials for shingles now. I mean, which, until a few years ago, I mean, shingles, I heard about one person that had it in the last few years, like every other person I know. Like, I had shingles. I'm like, oh my God, keep away from me. I don't think they're contagious, but
it's not contagious. If you never had chicken pox and you're around someone with shingles, then you can get chicken pox. But the shingles is just the dormant version of that. And then maybe they say stress. They don't know why. But yeah, it's stress. Like if you had a real illness and then all of a sudden it's just, it's actually, I know people really suffer from that shit, like hardcore. And I got my double shot. When I turned 50, I did the responsible thing and I got the vaccine because I don't want to deal with it.
I'd rather be witchy than itchy any day. So I'll just stick to my regimen.
Oh my God. Well, I think we could go into the Orange Man rants, but I don't really have the energy right now. It's just
I don't have the it's such a daily
I know
crate of bullshit dumped on one's head. I mean, it's outlandish. It is really pathetic. It's ridiculous. It's dumb as fuck.
Got himself in quite a conundrum, though.
Well, I'll say.
I mean, everyone is against this war. I mean, nobody wants it.
Well, he's got, as I said, irons in the fire. And his economic shit, that's like, oh boy, what's going to happen with that? Sending ice to kill American citizens.
Distraction. It's not going away. Everything's getting worse. And he's failing at everything. And every lawsuit he's filing is getting shot down.
Knocking out drug cartel.
Why doesn't somebody just fucking tell him what an idiot he is, other than any number of great fucking newspaper articles?
There's a rumor, because as Simon said, it was this war is not popular. There's a rumor that the only stats he's hearing are ones he wants to hear, and the people know that to manipulate him. So there's a rumor that he thinks it's a popular war. But he watches so much TV.
It's popular with the war whores who are benefiting from their fucking stock investments.
Yes, they are.
The manufacturers of
what do you mean?
Deadly weapons.
Stock market is fucked right now.
But that is. But in terms of Lockheed Martin and those things.
And individual investors, come on, they're growing their bunkers by the day, and they're going to need them if they keep on being this fucking stupid.
And of course, now we're because the gas price is going up. We're lifting sanctions on Russia.
I mean, that's really stupid.
He chuckled when they said Russia might be telling Iran where American military bases are. The fucking clown actually chuckled.
Well, one of the things that it is being missed in the news cycle is the Strait of Hormuz is not only where oil comes through, but it's also where a majority of fertilizer comes through.
Yeah.
So this is basically what I'm saying is going to increase food prices.
I guess farmers are just going to have to start shitting on their own crops. I mean, the government is shitting on us. Maybe we need to go shit on our own crops. And I'd love to go shit on an orange ass clown's forehead, but I mean, I don't have enough. I'm not full of enough shit in order to make that a concise attack. Anyway.
All right. Well,
happy weekend. This is the Lydian Spin with Lydia Lunch and Tim Dahl. I'll leave you with that beautiful thought. Shit on a fucking orange ass clown's forehead and then smear his whole family in the manure for which they are spreading out against this entire country. Same as it ever was. This is the Lydian Spin with Lydia Lunch, Tim Dahl, and the notorious Ian Svenonius. Excuse me. How exactly do you say that name?
Oh, it's Svenonius.
Svenonius.
Say that again. Yeah, it's like a phone, but it's
Can you even say
it? Yeah, I don't know sometimes, but it's like, okay, so it's kind of like Svengali or something. It's Swedish. It comes from Svensson. And there was a trend in the 16th century, 17th century to have a Greek ending on your name.
Well, I mean, besides your name being very specific, I mean, your musical schizophrenia, how can anybody describe that? Because it goes from funky, rock, sexy, sinister, seductive again, under various different names, the Nation of Ulysses, the Makeup Weird War Chain, and the Gang. Escape-ism, by the way, very sexy. That joint. And something I never knew about, except when I was just looking today. Now, what about this Helsinki jazz piece that you did with this singer? What was that? Which I just
found out about. Well, she's just a friend of mine and asked me to be on her record, so it was one of those.
What's her name again? Because I just heard that and I'm like, this is really cool.
Oh yeah. What's the name of the record's under her band name? Wait, I forget. It's it was.
I just heard it and I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't because it was just I was loving it.
Yeah, it was really cool. I haven't actually been in touch with her for a while. But
is she Brooklyn or was she or did you do that in Helsinki?
No, it was
Helsinki Jazz Orchestra.
It was all done remotely, So her name's Nicole Willis, but I forget what the title of the band was. I don't have a copy of the record, but
the record was very cool. I mean, I do look, you could be a wild man, you could be a mild man, you could be a sexy man, you could be a preacher man. Let's not even get into your books yet. We'll get into those. But I really like when you kind of go, dark and nightly.
Well, thank you. Well,
I kind of like that kind of, smooth,
back at you,
sinister.
Back at you. You wrote the playbook for that, so.
Well.
I think that we're also we're book mates. We're book label mates on Akashic. We've talked about that before. Do you remember the show we did together in Brittany where you were playing with this live painter?
With the Pouton Club.
That was an incredible show. It was just fantastic. It really blew my mind. It was a mind-blowing show. It's so
You know,
great.
I'm gonna send you. I have an unreleased, just finished record with Poutan Club and a Palestinian musician, and with an Arabic singer. And 50 record companies have not even said anything, but forget about it.
Yeah,
But
they're just like
you saw the Poutan Club, they're incredibly cool.
that was
That's what
such a cool show. I love that thing that was happening on stage, and you were really just like on fire. You were so like it's awesome. The thing about extemporaneous performers, because I try to be extemporaneous to a certain degree too, like you, and it's I think it's yeah, I feel like more and more it's a lost art, I don't know, we're living in a very canned era because of this sort of digital return to the 50s, which is cool in some ways, but it's yeah, this kind of the idea of the moment is really like I don't know, it's weird.
It's very important, and that's why Murderous Again, which is me, Tim Dahl, and Matt Nelson, which is improvisational satanic symphonies and spoken word. That's really when you have to be in the moment, when you're
Yeah.
living with that, when you're doing that on stage. One thing propels the other. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I 100%. So we have this book label in common. We're both on Akashic Books.
That's right. And some of your, I mean, I'm hoping you're going to read us something from one of these against the written word. Love the concept. Don't read, don't write, put this book down. The Psychic Soviet, Censorship Now. Very interesting. And I find it, look, some of us still read and some of us do write besides just songs. I mean, we got to get shit out. Come on.
I've been writing as well, despite my own advice against it. I've been
You've given up on your writing before?
No, I was just
He up on his own advice.
I was urging others to. I was trying to clear the field of competitors.
Ah, nice.
No.
Don't read, don't write, don't try to get published. Forget about it.
It's my last book, Against the Written Word. It's just basically like talking about why is literacy this kind of like moral issue under kind of capitalism. It's like sort of like the ruling class doesn't care if you live or die. They don't care if you starve to death, if you're homeless, but they do really want you to learn to read. And
well, they used to want to make you learn to read.
Well, you're right.
But
now that social media has made
kids are graduating from high school, still can't read, and I mean they're making this country by example so fucking stupid, because even though these are Yale and Harvard graduates, I guess they could not read the Constitution, or they can't even read the briefs they're writing, or they can't even look at 3 million pages of files. So they're just setting forth a illiteracy. So maybe they heard your call.
Well, there was a campaign.
Oh, sorry. What did you say?
So there was also a campaign America did a while ago to focus on math, anticipating all the tech stuff. I mean, there definitely.
Oh yeah.
Literacy was put, on the back burner compared to math. That was all conscious and design. But digress.
I mean, besides them wanting you to be stupid because they are, even though they went to college.
Oh, there's that too.
Anybody that goes to college, I mean, you're stupid by getting into a lifelong debt because it's so expensive to go to college, unlike Europe, where you could be a student till you're 60 in Germany because they want smart people.
Yeah. Well, I think, I mean, I think we all, in the back of our minds, we were all like, well, I guess we're going to have to learn, what do you call it, programming, or what's it called?
Sure.
But now that workforce has also been kind of like
AI, exactly. But still requires. But yes, we know where it's going. We know where it's going.
I think it's interesting because as humans, I've written I write a Substack. If anybody's interested out there, it's called Radical Elite Review, and but one of the main kind of obsessions of the missives that we publish there is this kind of just this paradigm that we're in, and our kind of our struggle against the robots, and the way this kind of the modern narrative is kind of it feels like everything's being shaped to, for these, our kind of the robots. Do you know what I mean? Like this obsession with identity. It's like quantifiable attributes. Do you know what I mean? Like you're no longer a personality. You're no longer Tim who has a certain taste or personality or humor or whatever.
Being brave in exactly what you're talking about, from the individual, as Lydia says, is an endangered species. And if there's between identity culture and automation and robots are kind of like challenging that more than ever, it's being brave enough to be yourself.
Yeah.
Not many people are willing to do that.
The same that, reality has just become a reality TV show. I mean, they are really, in this country specifically, they're just making everything so contrite, so convoluted, so ignorant. And so you don't like us. I don't like you either. You got a problem. It's like all of, and when the top of the shit pile is crying about not being liked, and that's an insult. You see how that trickles down to kids like committing suicide because they don't have enough likes on their dumb fucking post. It's like, get off the screen.
I think one of the most profound developments of our time is the kind of this kind of reduction of everything to emotions, where where you can't talk about politics anymore because you might hurt somebody's feelings. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? So even foreign policy, even like, carpet bombing another country, it's like, well, you can't really talk about that because you might. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
I know what you're saying, but it does not fucking stop me because I've had the war horn to my mouth since Reagan. So I continue to talk about this shit. But I know what you're saying. It's
that is the Reagan Oprah Winfrey era of basically telling someone who's sitting on their couch who's probably being just beaten down by society or whatever, but like what you feel is equally as valid as this expert over here, and that's not true, actually.
What did the orange ass clown say today? When will you end this war? The war, like that's the 7th war he started, not the 9th one he stopped. It was, I'll end the war when I feel it in my bones. Like your bone spurs? Fucking idiot.
So you grew up in the D.C. area, or is that just where you kind of
I grew up in the D.C. area. I'm actually from I'm actually from Maryland, the same town that the Pagans originated from, and John Fahey. So that's
not the literal Pagans, but
the motorcycle group, and Jim Henson.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and Len Bias, the basketball player,
who died of cocaine.
Yeah.
Heart thing. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think he was probably assassinated by the government because his death was the pretext for the war on drugs. That's when George Bush launched the war on drugs. It was his death that kind of precipitated it.
Oh, I've never heard that theory. Okay, all right. I like that.
What do you think about this? Am I allowed to say outrageous things on here?
Say whatever you want. Trust me.
Well, what do you think about, remember when the Great White Fire happened?
Oh, I know all about it. Go.
Do you remember how it destroyed all punk clubs in America, or all not punk clubs, but like independent clubs, because they all had to like suddenly like get fire regulations in this kind of new way. Do you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. Well, don't you think Clear Channel might have had a hand in the Great White?
Well, it's funny you say that because that was connected with Fox News, because the owner of that club's brother was the local anchor person for the Providence Fox News area. And what happened, you probably know this, a week before in Chicago, there was like a dance, like house music dance club, and someone sprayed mace and it created like this funnel riot stampede that like 8 people got crushed. And so because of that story, it was a national story, the owner of the club went to his brother for free publicity saying, let's do a feature of your club, and we're going to show them how to do a club right in case of an emergency. That's why all the cameras were there. And of course, he actually didn't have the proper soundproofing. He had like those kind of styrofoam egg cases that are basically solid gasoline. Once you get a spark, it's like before you can blink your eye, the whole fucking thing's gone. And that's why it was all there to promote this guy's brother's club, and then it was going to give him like a good story or something. And then
I guess I owe an apology to Clear Channel.
No. I mean, they could conspire. They could have conspired. I mean, I'm not saying no, but even if that was inaccurate, symbolically, there's something through metaphor. What you're saying is correct.
Yeah.
I mean that trajectory is absolutely
it was definitely one of
the being crushed and all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
So Lydia, where are you living now? Do you live in Louisville?
No, haven't been there for a while. No, I'm in Brooklyn. Jim's in Brooklyn, but he's in LA right now.
I'm actually in Los Angeles right now. Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, because yeah, that's right. Yeah. Are you playing out here?
I'm recording, so I'm not performing, but I'm kind of this weekend doing some stuff. So
awesome.
Yeah, if you know any cool shows or anything this weekend, let me know.
I will. Yeah. So what's your sense of I just heard my shoe repair guy just told me that there's a 5-hour wait at the airport now.
Well, before you got on, that's what Lydia and the producer Simon was saying, and I'm like, great. I mean, I fucking hate those airports anyways. You just made it worse. I mean, Lydia and I had to play in Miami during the Art Basel time, and JFK. And I already, it was a domestic flight, not international, and already checked in on my phone all the time. We got there I thought, 2.5 hours in advance.
Yeah.
And this before it was the longest security line. Like, it was just, I made it by like 2 minutes, like sweating and getting to your gate. The whole shit sucks.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's global chaos right now everywhere. I mean, it's the same in Europe. I mean, we're going on tour in a few weeks. Fortunately, flying twice and then driving. I just got back from Europe, driving the whole way. No problems there. Thank you very much. But, I'll be flying every 2 weeks for the next few months, including going to Australia, going to Europe. But I trust more going elsewhere than I do going somewhere here now at this point.
Yeah. No, we're going. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Where are you going next?
We're going to France. Escape-ism is going to go play a couple shows in France. But yeah, it's a little, who knows? I don't know. It's, it's
5 hours. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absurd. It's crazy. So do you have any books coming out?
I've just self-published 48-hour digital printing, a small book. Yeah. Because sell them at the merch table. $4 to print, $20 to sell. Come on.
Nice.
You should think about that. It's very convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have a lot of merch, but I do a lot of DIY merch like that, and so that's what we do here.
That's cool.
What we do.
I mean, you also want a good place for your merch to arrive, because traveling with books or traveling with vinyls is just, they got you from every angle. Like,
don't even start. We're like, just forget it. Forget it. Don't even talk about the holdup of merch. Best to try to bring it with you, because forget about it now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so ill run, this country, on every front, which is, of course, why we always have to go to Europe anyway to find.
Isn't it sad that culturally America is kind of just, it's pretty much a wasteland, and it's because of this stuff that we're talking about, like the club thing. If all the clubs are laid waste, or all the record stores are closed down. I mean, it really is sort of like, well, there's no kind of locus, there's no place for any kind of subculture to develop except online, and online is obviously just then you're just
not a reality.
And it's a surveillance state. It's this kind of like, I think that, what do you think about this theory that the Epstein thing is like 9/11, in the sense that, has there ever been a crime like, there's a big crime, and instead of any prosecution, they let you read everybody's email. Yeah. So it's like, essentially it's like this cart before the horse thing, where it's like, okay, we're going to give so what we're looking at is a 9/11 of privacy, like the last vestige of like the idea of like privacy or whatever is being, that's what's really, that's the real story here. Do you know what I mean? Not
I do know what you mean,
whatever,
because
the
this is one of my
international spy thing.
this is one of my speeches when I tell people to put their fucking cell phones down at concerts, because you've been turned into an I spy. You are spying on yourselves with your Facebook, with your TikTok, with your Instagram. You have become a spy for the government. I don't give a shit what you ate, who you know, or where you go, but they do. You have become a spy on yourself. And I don't mean a spy in the house of love. No, I don't. That would be you and me.
So you're a Gemini.
She is. Wait,
what's your sign? I'm a Gemini as well.
My sign?
Yeah, what's your sign?
I'm a Taurus.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But
that's good.
Get along very well.
Lydia shares her birthday with the Marquis de Sade.
June 2nd.
Not only my birthday.
Yeah, well, there's that
philosophy. Too. By the way, and I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. De Sade, the translations, if they're good, Grove Press, he was the predictor of Epstein. Because what was he writing about? The rich can fucking kill whatever they want. And here we are. Yeah. It's been going on for hundreds and thousands of fucking years. Yeah. And why this fucking non-transparency? All of these millions of pages, they're going after and antagonizing the survivors, when only in Europe have a few people been taken down. Let the cards fall where they may. And thank you for Massey and Wakana, who are not letting this go. Your fucking war is not going to stop this continued investigation. It's just not going to go away, because they're all fucking guilty.
Well, unless all of us go away. I mean, there are, the meter of full mankind annihilation, that's running a little hot these days. Especially, well, that's what they say, which is not, we feel the turbulence, right?
They've been kind of rehabilitating the idea of nuclear war for a little while now, a limited nuclear war is like not that bad.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to normalize.
They're sort of like, it's interesting, all this stuff that was like through our lifetime was like the unthinkable, this whole, mutually assured destruction, all the premises. I mean, the digital era, we just have to throw out at like every kind of like whatever assumption or precept or whatever that we had is just thrown out the window, because do you know what I mean? Like what art is, what art can do, what free speech, privacy, and nuclear war is another aspect of that.
I mean, my theory too, Ian, is look, we have 24-hour access to the war porn that's happening, but it has been always without end been going on. America has only been out of war for 10 years, same as it ever was. War is like a virus. It travels around the globe. It never stops. The war is never over. It never will, until we find a way to wipe out ignorance, greed, stupidity, and religion. It's not going away. Get used to it. It's the same as it ever was. Just tell me a time in history when there wasn't war. And right now 94 countries engaged. Okay, come on, keep killing yourselves, assholes. You know what? Shoot them all and let their God sort them out. The God of war, of violence, of assassination, killing your only begotten son. This is who you worship, motherfuckers. I need a drink. I'll be right back.
Well, nice. I mean, the thing is, if we do actually figure out through diplomacy how to agree and get along, and there is, as we think about global world peace, wouldn't that be the inevitable destruction of basically everything else that exists? Because we are so dominant at that point that like no other animals and plants, I mean, it would just be like a very successful, quote unquote, high intelligence social mammal that actually doesn't kill each other. Is all that's the big that suddenly it's all of us against all of them. It might be really destructive at that point, but who knows?
I guess there's like 3 trillion ants on the earth.
I mean, maybe. Well, here's the one I like to bring up sometimes in this podcast, which gives you a sense of how many of these there are. Sharks kill under 100 people a year.
Yeah.
We kill 100 million sharks a year.
100 million.
Look it up. Oh yeah, we kill 100 million sharks a year.
Horrifying.
I mean, it's insane.
I mean,
it's so insane.
It's so wrong.
We have, these 35, 40-mile drag nets just
Oh, yeah.
scooping every fucking thing out of the ocean. I mean, constantly, 24/7.
It's horrifying.
Yes. So
It is
what about growing up in the DC metro area? I mean,
Oh, yeah,
obviously,
so DC, yeah.
that has a whole rich
Yeah,
history. And
I'm really from I'm really from DC. DC was a very different city when I lived there,
Mhm.
I think. It was it was Chocolate City. Um it was uh kind of, I don't know, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. It was like had a southern flavor. It's below the Mason-Dixon line. It has a southern flavor. It's the home of the Hustle. Van McCoy was from DC. Link Ray lived in DC. He had Rumble Records in DC. And Bo Diddley lived there, and he did A&R for chess at the Howard Theater, and that's why he signed Billy Stewart, who was also from DC, and like blah blah blah. Anyway, so it used to feel, it used to be a place that you could rationalize living, and it was really like, then we had our cool scene, obviously Discord and the Bad Brains, but also, you had Teen Beat and, bands like the Velvet Monkeys, Don Fleming, and, bands like that, 9 through 5 3. So there was like a really freaky scene too, the Slicky Boys and all this stuff that was not, the typical, what you think of as the Discord thing. So it was a very like, cool. There was a really amazing music scene. But that was a vestige of the era, which is a very decentralized rock and roll era, I think. And with the digital paradigm, unfortunately, you would have thought that things would have become more decentralized, but instead, it feels like now there's just like, everything's about these LA and New York, and that's basically all there is. The idea of like a scene in Lawrence, Kansas now is like insane. That's like crazy, whereas that used to be a place every band played. Every band would play Lawrence, Kansas. You'd always play like whatever, fucking, Athens, Georgia, wherever these places. And it's so anyway, so I feel like the culture in DC, it just got much more corporate. It's just,
It's,
it's
it's
just
also also one of the most expensive cities to live in. I mean, obviously New York and LA are too, but it's I think last I read, it's the highest concentration of millionaires. Like everyone that lives there, with the exception of the poor neighborhoods, it's that area.
Yeah, it got very expensive. Well, what you have to remember is that there's a lot of like, all the kind of Iranian, ruling class fled there, and so there's a lot of like very rich, people in like Potomac, Maryland. So when you hear those kind of like statistics, it's not, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like, well, that's just that's a median wealth thing. And there's definitely a lot of poverty. There's a lot of poverty there, but
There's a lot of poverty in this whole country that seems to
yeah.
just be swept under the rug. And now the latest thing, I mean, one of the biggest population of homeless people for a while in Texas was veterans. And now the orange ass clown is trying to make it that they're going to swoop veterans up and put them in housing, whether they like it or not, like as if they want to be on the streets. No, go to war, get PTSD, get your leg blown off, come back and we'll shit on your fucking forehead. That's what you get for going to fucking war here. If you
Yeah.
come back not in a body bag. Why do I remember? And I'm sure I didn't have a gun then, but I somehow remember shooting rats in the back of that. Was it the 930 Club
The
in
930
DC?
Club, yeah. That
I
was
mean,
one of their
I've
hobbies.
had guns. Why do I think I was shooting rats? Maybe I was
Yeah,
just
they used to
looking.
shoot the rats in the back of 930 Club. That's
All right.
true.
Well, somebody
Yeah.
was shooting them for me. Yeah,
I
that's
used
right.
to I used to work I used to work there sometimes loading in because Alec Mackay would get me a job, loading in for these bands. And that old 930 Club was so tiny, it like was they jammed 300 or 400 people in there, but it was technically like 99 capacity. And you'd see, but because IMP, the local promoters, had stranglehold on booking, so every band had to play there, and it was like these bands would roll in with like two semis, and then it was crazy, just because they couldn't put anything in there. It's tiny.
Are you going to France with Escape-ism, or is that what you're doing in France?
Escape-ism, yeah.
And
We're
what
playing
is
the provinces.
who does that consist of live? Is that
So it's me and Sandy D on the bass guitar, and she plays keyboard and sings too. She's my partner and collaborator, and we just finished a new record, and we're playing like a lot of places in the provinces. We're playing like just these little towns because I just did this tour with my other band, with another band that I do with this French guy called XYZ. It's this guy Didier Balducci from Nice, and he's from this band, the Dum Dum Boys, and he's played in a lot of different groups. And we just did this little tour of all these little, places, and it was just so fun. And I
it's
got
fun to go. It's
connections.
fun to go to these places. I mean, the
Yeah.
thing is, because we can't go to Kansas anymore. Not that I ever did. It's fun. Not yet, at least.
You
But
must
no,
have gone
it is.
to
I mean,
Kansas. That's where William Burroughs lived.
yeah. Well,
Lived a few
he
places, but
shot
yeah.
a woman. I could have shot him. I was a better shot than him. He only needed one bullet. That was ridiculous. Somebody asked me if I thought he was a misogynist. I go, "That's an amateur. I'm a misanthrope. You don't get away." Whatever. No biggie.
Are you going to play Nice on this tour?
We're not playing Nice on this tour because I just go there so often.
You do.
I felt like yeah, because I do this band with this guy there, and
And France is a good market for music right now as well.
Yeah.
But Nice is like the San Diego of France. It's got this like right-wing rich side, even though it's gorgeous and kind of amazing. But it's a weird place. It's like
that's why I like it because it's not hip at all,
Sure.
like, because they tried to, they're trying to turn Marseille into this like hip LA thing. But
it's too scuzzy.
Well, my buddy Tristan, who I'm staying with, we were talking about that. He
Maybe
was
San Pedro.
around it. I mean, Marseille, is it possible though? They're trying to, but is it possible?
It's more San Pedro.
Yeah, Long Beach. Yeah. Marseille. I mean, Marseille is cool. I like it so much. It's so cool. But
Ian,
yeah.
I see you fidgeting with something. Would that be a book which you're gonna bless us
Oh,
with?
no, it's a piece of Velcro. It's this military invention called Velcro. Okay, I can read a little bit. I'm just going to read the note. This is my book, Against the Written Word. It's the first book against literacy. It's a first, anyway, and it starts with a note on cover design because I think any of the essays, it's actually a collection of essays, and not all of them
Just
are
do what you want. Do perfect. Go ahead.
And so I'm just going to read a note. So a note on the cover design. You may have noticed that this book is slightly damaged, either from a fingerprint, a tiny smudge, a dinged corner, or some combination thereof. Such blemishes, though normally grounds for exchanging a book, are actually an integral and intentional design aspect of Against the Written Word, the anti-literacy tract you're holding in your hands. Against the Written Word ushers in an exciting new world of illiteracy, enforced by anti-literates dedicated to animalism. In this world, the tactile will be made paramount again. Messages will no longer consist of letters, texts, or graffiti, but smudges, scuffs, and smells, which people will leave as markings to one another. This copy of Against the Written Word may have been thumbed through already by some curious thrill seeker, an on-the-run desperado, or even a potential lover. The pre-literate signals they left on this book, whether they be smells, smudges, or crumpled corners, could be useful to you in locating a like-minded community in the post-literate era we are embarking on. Therefore, while these sorts of irregularities would normally induce dissatisfaction and warrant a return, in this particular case, they are a vital component of the book, possibly its most salient feature. In fact, if this book isn't slightly marred or disfigured, exchange it for one that is. Thank you.
Great.
I like the fact that one of the concepts in there is that we will transmit and translate communication via smells.
Yeah.
Now, Tim Dole is one of the best smelling people. I don't know how he does it. He truly is.
He's a Taurus.
I'm wondering what you smell like right now. I wish I could sniff you. I'm a little bit ripe. I don't know why, because I'm so hot in my apartment. Doesn't matter that it's 41 degrees outside. So I could use a bit of perfumery, but I have to say, I usually smell pretty good too. I was wondering what you might smell
I
like
smell
right
you
now.
before. You smell
Of course,
great.
I'm man spreading without any panties, so I'm smelling particularly delicious right now. Sorry about that.
Well, it's okay. This is an interesting thing because I just wrote this essay, which is something I've often thought about, which is the idea that cigarette smoke, once cigarettes were banished, I have never smoked. I've always aspired.
Unbelievable! You got that great voice without smoking. Oh my
Well,
God!
well, thank you. I've always aspired to smoke, but I was never able to. And But but when the smoking ban was about to go into effect in DC, I wrote the politicians. I said, no, let's not have this because I knew what was going to happen. That we were all going to become very self-aware and very self-conscious and smelling everybody else in these clubs. And I really think in this article I wrote, which is called "The Benefits of Cigarette Smoke," is like I think that cigarettes were an essential ingredient to the live rock and roll experience and I don't know if music's recovered since the smoking ban because people have become incredible, they've become really like, you know, I don't know what the word is, but they're kind of like, you know, more introverted or whatever. And I think with the
Because
smoke,
their sense of smell has been enhanced, and that makes them more frigid.
well, they're aware of pheromones in the room, so that's like there's a lot of signals that were kind of obliterated by the smoke. I think the smoke really served a purpose. And if you think of the Catholic Church and with the frankincense and all these smoke rituals that we have through, history, that smoke is a big thing when you're trying to make, whatever magic happen. And I don't know if magic is possible. And they invented these things called smoke machines, which are supposed to kind of like approximate the cigarette smoke, but they don't. They do a shitty job.
I was burning some rosemary right before we did this little chat. Some people burn sage, but I find rosemary far lighter and just as cleansing, if not more.
I love rosemary. I love it. And it grows
How
everywhere.
did I know? How did
Well,
I know?
Ian, when that was happening, so you're just talking about the human beings in the clubs. What was happening when the smoke ban first happened in New York a lot actually, is people didn't realize how awful these clubs smelled
Oh yeah.
until the smoke was gone. I mean, just like sewage and piss and
Fetid beer and vomit
yeah.
oh yeah. And which is fine. Those clubs have to smell like that. But the smoke was this great, but also I think like there's a lot of class distinctions that as animals, we're just making all these, we're smelling, just like a dog. We're aware, oh, somebody urinated here or this thing, whatever, this thing. And I think that music has become much more class-based since the smoking ban happened. And if you really look at it, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a country club. Like, let's face it, rock and roll, it's not very proletarian anymore. It used to be kind of, there was a class leavening that happened with rock and roll. It was like, oh yeah, there's, whatever people who are debutantes, and then there's like whatever scum of the earth, and there was also some GIs, but now it's not really like that.
And also, I mean, so there's no more smoking. But and I was talking again with my buddy Tristan about this the other day. People don't go to shows to find sex or drugs anymore either. Those things are delivered to them.
Yeah. How sad. Oh, how sad. That's right, Tim. Wait, very good point, Tim. Say that again. Very good.
Yeah, they're delivered to them, but with laser precision. So a band, for instance, would represent a tribe. And so if that tribe would gather at a show of, the preconceived idea that you're like-minded, so you can have conversations with your own, you could hook up with your own, you could do the same drugs that you prefer, and all that's been taken away by all these apps and stuff with laser precision, with more refined. So if you had a kink, for instance, to broach that conversation in a club within your tribe, you still might be able to broach that conversation, but you also still might get punched. Where you have an algorithm now finding that kink with someone who approves you, and it's being delivered to you in maybe 2 hours. And you take that away, all those elements away, what's left are these music fans. And it's actually a lot smaller than people anticipated.
Exactly. Well, that's what people say about gay clubs too. It's like the gay club, because of Grindr, the gay club is it's like endangered species. It's not going to exist anymore because there's no reason for it, because you used to have to go to the gay club to find,
Yeah.
again, and the punk club is very similar to that. It's very similar.
Similar to that. Another thing, going back to, you're talking about like regional scenes that don't exist anymore. I think once Napster came out, the record industry was so arrogant and so blindsided by that arrival point that they were just kind of caught with their pants down. And so on the corporate level of popular music, that's why you'll see like 8 producers on a track. They want the sure thing. They have to make sure they make their money. So you have the K-pop on kick drum. So rather than before, they would invest. There's a thing brewing in Topeka over here. Let's see what happens. That's done.
Yeah.
Done.
I want to go back to the convenience of door-to-door delivery that you were talking about, Tim, because like, is it a real convenience, or is it another way to keep people in their fucking cubicles away from each other, which is causing, of course, more teenage suicide? I'm not saying DoorDash is or Amazon is, but when people are not communicating in a community, or for instance, AI suicides, because that was my chat girlfriend and now she doesn't exist, I'm going to kill myself.
Well, I mean, that was the white flight, in suburbs, the migration of white American in the suburbs. That was to break up the unions, during labor. So it was, there would be all these types of tricks. Say Henry Ford, let's give Irish people a raise, and then then this tribalism. They would hate each other, but after work, if they lived next to each other, they could have a conversation. And and they wanted to break that up. So this kind of forced segregation and kind of
the 38th World's Fair.
It's also what's causing the uprise in mass shootings, is that people are so isolated and insulated in their little incel cubicles that they have nothing to bounce off against except for what's been poisoning their fucking head when they go into a viral underground thing. And this is why I say, like, for instance, in Barcelona, the grannies patrol. There's a lot less violence than here. First of all, there's less guns, but because the grannies are in charge in a communal setting, out in the courtyard, having dinner, whole family, neighborhood there, people know what's going on, and there's going to be less likely to be an isolation tank, which propels violence in an individual who feels isolated from everything. And if their life means nothing, why should anybody else's life mean anything?
Yeah.
Hello.
You're saying you had a thought before what you just said. I wanted to hear what you were going to go with.
Oh yeah, no, I forgot, but yeah, no, the digital, I mean, all this stuff is, we are like, everything that we do now is being corralled by these kind of digital overlords, so that we are, intelligible to AI. Essentially, like, they hate humor, they hate inference, they hate double entendre, they hate poetry because it's not quantifiable. So the whole way that we are forced to speak now through, like online or whatever, the way that we communicate has to be so sort of, we have to, like, really, that whole thing of like, like, you have to speak very specifically and like very, you know what I mean? Like it's been a slow, it's been gradual, but I don't think that the people that we are would recognize the people, if the people that we were 10 years ago wouldn't recognize the people we are now, because we've been so kind of like, configured by this digital model. Do you know what I mean?
No. I think that there are people like you and I that still are on a path that resists all of this fucking commercialization or digitization, and we're just on a path. I mean, I don't see you as somebody who's been digitized, because you continue to go in and outside of your own realm, creating new ones. So first of all, I don't think we can be commodified. We are beyond commodification.
Well, I back at you. You're right. No, but you know what I'm saying? Like this, I feel like the way that we communicate is like, I think that there's this, thing, where we're being really encouraged to speak in a kind of manner. You see it in rock and roll, like the stuff, everybody says, like you, especially, music from the 80s, like, countercultural underground music from the 80s. It seems like beyond the pale in terms of the transgressive content and all this stuff. And when you see it now, you're like, oh my God, like I can't believe it because that could be misunderstood. Well, it's like, well, there used to be something called intelligence, and there used to be something called, understanding, and that like, people could
A
understand.
choice,
Oh, and
wide choice, not something fed through an algorithm to send you to the next 40-second. If you can concentrate for 40 seconds, I mean, whatever.
exactly.
So,
But
I mean,
like,
the way that they have managed to reduce the attention span of people by these, a 20-second, 30-second, 140 characters. I mean, it's all a condensation of the faculty of deciding for yourself, of thinking for yourself, of being able to go beyond the 1, 2, 4 lines. It is really the dumbification, and they have really succeeded. And this is why, look, I have my billboards on Instagram and Facebook. I don't go on Instagram I don't even go on my own except for every 2 months.
Yeah, but Lydia,
again, the only Instagram I follow is Mr. Buck Naked, a hairless cat.
or
that's it. Who plays the guitar with his teeth, by the way?
But also,
like a Japanese minimalist.
Also the participation in the commentary is now people that don't care about these things. Where historically it was about people that cared about these things. That's why they would participate and have commentary. And now it's just because of the short snapshots, everyone has their opinion and they want to participate.
I don't give basically, look, everybody's allowed to have their own opinion and commentary. I just don't give a shit to waste my time reading it. I want to engage in conversation, which is why we continue this podcast after 400 fucking episodes. I can't believe we're still doing it, because I believe in real conversation with real people that might transmit some thoughts, some music, some literature, in spite of, everything else. Because I still think it's important to communicate and send out into that fucking void a stab in the dark of something that frickin' matters. And that's why this is and shall remain the Lydian Spin.
Ian, do you have another small excerpt, or was that just the one?
Yeah.
No problem.
Come on.
Oh,
pull a page up, son.
Let's see.
Why not?
I could, okay. This is interesting. Well, this is kind of what we're talking about. So this is a chapter from Against the Written Word. This is just my latest book, so that's what I'm reading from. But I've also got.
Who put that out? Is that our mutual labor?
This is Akashic. This is Johnny.
Yes.
Okay, so we could talk about this. This is an essay in here. It has nothing to do with literacy. It's called Me Incorporated: The Rise of Incorporated Man and the Origins of Instagram. The rise of incorporated man. While the 4th of July is celebrated as the nation's birthday, and December 25th is considered the anniversary of Christ the Savior, there are other dates that should be publicly recognized as even more auspicious, even more profound, regarding their impact on our existence. One of these is January 21st, 2010. January 21st, 2010 marks a landmark case by the Supreme Court called Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission, which ruled that corporations were people. Almost exactly 9 months later, on October 6, 2010, Instagram was born. The Supreme Court's Citizens United decision seemed innocuous at first, designed to give corporations the right to free speech, ensuring that businesses could donate to political campaigns to influence elections. It granted the corporation personhood. As far out as this alchemical pronouncement was, it had another, perhaps unintended, but much more radical effect: to metamorphose people into corporations. After all, as per the symmetric property of equality, if corporations are people, then also people are corporations. On January 20th, a person went to bed as a person. On January 22nd, they woke up as a corporation. On first hearing the news, people didn't know exactly how to reconcile themselves with their new status. People were confused about how to comport and present themselves as corporate bodies and how to sell themselves effectively. It's not that they were unhappy. To the contrary, they were excited. Since American fealty to the corporation is absolute, People love brands, they respect brands, and they grant brands a moral authority they would never grant to a person. A corporation's pronouncements on social matters hold much more weight than a regular person's, for example. This is strange since corporations are driven wholly by bottom line profit concerns and are therefore essentially amoral. But nonetheless, this is the case. So the designation was exciting for everyone. They could now wield the sword of justice as never before. However, there were still questions, such as how to create brand identity, how to present oneself in an impenetrable and two-dimensional way, how to spout anodyne ad copy instead of having actual conversation, how to remember to only utter idiotic slogans, patronizing drivel, and milquetoast pronouncements, how to grandstand about diversity and social justice while exploiting, polluting, cheating, manipulating, lying, pulping, and pulverizing. It was difficult to be an entity that was always selling itself, commodifying itself, trying to hypnotize others to buy and consume, that also purported to be good and decent with no flaws or self-doubt. Even for those who were adept at configuring themselves to this new mode, it seemed unfair. A stacked game. A normal citizen, after all, was no match for a corporation like GM, Coca-Cola, Sprint, Raytheon, Google, or Exxon, which had a clear advantage in the realm of product distribution, brand visibility, and corporate identity, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, this article in Against the Written Word just talks about the kind of self-commodification and the kind of like reduction of all people into brands and the kind of like the, intense pressure to kind of corporatize oneself and to reduce oneself to a sort of two-dimensional caricature that, like I said, grandstands about diversity, but is actually very motivated, selfish, self-centered.
And the more hollow, the more popular. The easier to digest, the less threatening, the more popular, because where lies the danger at this point? Even rap music has been homogenized into like lovers rock. I mean, where are the politics? Where is the danger? Where is the sex? Where is the sinister? Oh, that's why we're here talking to you, honey. Now we know what this is all about. This is what brings us together.
Well, hip hop is, it is. That's kind of the ultimate example of something that's been sort of really defanged or whatever. I'm kind of against the rock schools. The rock schools, to me, it's like rock and roll is supposed to be based on like incompetence, and it's like teaching all these kids how to play how to play like Alan Parsons Project when they're 10 years old. It's crazy.
Right. That's funny. I mean, the trajectory of cool things, it's usually disappointing. I mean, are there any genres that really started terribly and just the trajectory is like excellence and something great?
Architecture, chemistry.
Well, sure. I'm thinking about just music, but yeah. Rap was in a lot of trouble, but definitely by the time they arrived at Broadway rap, you're really in trouble. But
punk. What about punk? Punk is
jazz fusion. Jazz fusion. You have Miles Davis like psychedelic bitches brew, and then your Florida Vacation in 1985, like you turn on the Weather Channel, and it's like
everything has a cycle, everything has a time limit, everything can go as far as it can go, and then it has to. And when people complain, oh, there's no visionaries now, there's no music now, you sometimes have to go backwards to go forward, because the history of music, however far back you want to or don't go, has everything in it if you can find it. And if you find it, there you go. So you just got to dig around. We used to have to dig around for records. We used to dig around for reviews. We didn't just like wait for, a YouTube algorithm to send us to the next fucking thing, similar to what we just fucking heard. We used to search out what it was that we could connect to. And now here we are, still in our isolated palaces, bringing the music to the people in small towns across the planet, wherever we can, because it's what we do. It's what we do, because it still means we need to do it. And if it doesn't burn inside you to do it, stay home and don't do it, because there's some of us that just ain't gonna fucking stop. It would be me and you, my friend.
Right on.
Ian, any last second plugs you want to do before we sign off here? Any specific?
Well,
you got your book, but any shows that?
we're going to France. Yeah, and we're playing these little, we're playing Brittany, and we're playing in, yeah. So I'm pretty excited for that. And then my book, Supernatural Strategies for Making a Rock and Roll Group, is being re-released with a new essay and new cover on Akashic.
Right.
The
And
book.
what about when is the new album Escape-ism coming out?
I don't know. I don't know. We just finished it, so we have to put it together and all that stuff. We have to kind of, you know how it is.
And just quickly, what about this film that you did and that was going around for a while? What
Oh, The
happened
Lost
with that?
Record. Yeah, it's not available. The Lost Record. So it was based on the second Escape-ism record, which is called The Lost Record. And it was it's basically about a record that is so the film is a sci-fi film, and it's a rock and roll exploitation sci-fi film, and it's about a record that goes unnoticed, and a girl finds it and develops a relationship with the record. And the record is kind of ambitious, and it wants to be her to play it for her friends. And at first she's a little reticent because they have this special relationship.
So
And
the
then,
record has a personality that begs to be paid attention to.
exactly. And so the record is kind of like wants more attention. And then as she loses control of the record, it gets more and more popular. And then so the film is kind of about, people's relationship to art, and it's kind of the personal, when something gets popular and you sort of does it lose its meaning? Did it only have that meaning but it's set in a near future where there's only one record called the number one record. Yeah.
Lost record. There's only one. It's the Lost Record.
Well, no, see, the Lost Record is the Rebel record. So there's the number one record. It's played on the radio day and night. It's the
Very
number one
1984.
record. Yeah, exactly. And then so her listening to the Lost Record is actually it's a kind
Rebellion.
of subversive act. But then as the record gets more popular, it's like anyway, you can imagine. I don't want to spoil it for you. It's not available it can't be seen right now, but maybe
that's good. It can't be seen because it's the lost film.
It's a lost film. Well, it was this decision that we made to not just put it on the internet like everything else.
Yeah, no, of course not. It should be seen in cinemas. It just reminds me of one of the last record I listened to by him, favorite records based on the book 1984, which is Diamond Dogs by David Bowie.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorites.
I just met Tony Basil, who did the floor show choreography for Dogs. And ever since I moved to LA, it's been my ambition to meet Tony Basil. And I finally got to. It was really thrilling, but now it's kind of like I don't have any ambition anymore.
Oh. It was funny because
I'll be coming out there in June, so you could be ambitious to take me for a cup of coffee.
All right, we could have a birthday. We should have a joint birthday party.
Well, I'll be out there a few days after my birthday, but why not? What's another? Every day is my birthday.
You're June what?
What?
You're June
1st.
Oh, you guys are right next to each other.
And Zabrecki, the magician Zabrecki.
Yeah.
Zabrecki is born the day before me, so we're like a trifecta.
We gotta.
Lydia, me, and Zabrecki. That's pretty good.
When was Tony Basil born?
Tony Basil. She's a what is she? I just learned it. I think she's like. Is she an Aquarius?
Doesn't matter. She's still hot. Okay.
What is that?
She's still hot. Doesn't matter. She's still
hot.
bouncing. All right. Well, I think we're gonna close this.
Oh, sorry. Before it degenerates.
No biggie. So, Ian, thank you very much. This has been a lot of fun. We will
Hey,
celebrate
it
together.
was a real pleasure. I want to say, let's hang in June. Are you going to be here too, Tim?
I don't think so. No, I don't.
We're going to have Floyd's birthday party. You got to come.
I'm stopping out there on my way to Australia, so
Yeah,
I'll have to celebrate.
Oh, brilliant.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
Thanks for having me on, you guys.
Thanks for doing it.
It's a real pleasure.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Thank you.
Oh, also,